The Chicago Bears have made their final cuts and released their official 53-man roster. In this video, I'll be going through all the major cuts and talking about the Bears roster for 2025. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video. The season is fast approaching, less than 2 weeks away. I still have to give you guys my hype video, which is coming out this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. I'm also going to be having a week 1 preview video out for you guys next week because we're about to be at game week. Okay, next Monday is going to be the Bears' first game of the season. So really excited for the season to start. And today is the worst day of the offseason where you have to do your cuts. And many players, their dream of playing football ends today. They're not going to get chances elsewhere. But some of these guys will be coming back on practice squad or claimed for other teams. So just going through all the cuts the Bears made today. So on their website, this is what I'm reading it from. So first of all, talking about the guys going on IR that are going to be designated for return. So running back Travis Homer and linebacker Amen Ogbongbemiga have been placed on IR, but they will come back at some point this season. I'll go into the guys that were waived with the injury designation. That was defensive back Tysheem Johnson, offensive lineman Doug Kramer, and offensive lineman Bill Murray. So these guys are waived. Other teams can claim them. They are with the injury designation, but other teams can still claim them at this point in time. And then going to the players that were just waived, which again means that other teams can claim them. They are on their rookie contracts. Wide receiver Maurice Alexander, running back Britton Brown, long snapper Luke Elkin, defensive lineman Jonathan Ford, defensive back Mekhi Garner, defensive lineman Jamari Chroma, offensive lineman Jordan McFadden, defensive lineman Zach Pickens, wide receiver J.P. Richardson, wide receiver Tyler Scott, and offensive lineman Ricky Stromberg. Now, talking about some of the notable guys here that we waived. So, obviously, Zach Pickens is one of the bigger ones, and I did expect this to some extent because he has had a horrible career so far with the Chicago Bears. He's entering year 3 and has done basically nothing for the Chicago Bears, being a very early pick in round 3. That was an absolute horrid pick by Ryan Poles. Okay, it was a complete flop of a pick. Poles had been very bad in round 3, and Pickens was just borderline unplayable for the Chicago Bears. He provided nothing in terms of pass rush, really poor run defense. Like, it just seemed like he's not an NFL player. He was a guy that needed a lot of development and refinement to do, and the Bears bet on the upside, but they struck out big time on that bet because Pickens is just simply not an NFL player at this point in time. And with all the upgrades the Bears made on the interior defensive line this offseason, the writing was on the wall for Zach Pickens, and he is no longer going to be a member of the Chicago Bears. And another notable cut here was receiver Tyler Scott. He was also entering year 3, got drafted in the same draft as Zach Pickens. And just like Pickens, he struggled to really contribute that much. He contributed more than Pickens did. At least he had a couple catches during his rookie year, but last year he barely saw any playing time, didn't really contribute that much. He struggled with drops during his career so far. He really didn't do much of anything in camp or preseason so far, which was the big separating factor between him and a guy like Jahdae Walker. Okay, Jahdae Walker made the team because he made big time play after big time play in training camp and in the preseason games. But even though Tyler Scott, there's a lot to like, coming out of college from him, we just have not seen it translate to the NFL level. Okay, the route running hasn't been there so far. The hands have not been there. He seems pretty small when he's out there on the football field. So wish him the best of luck. But with how crowded the Bears receiving room is at this point in time, this is the right decision to move off of, another bad draft pick that Ryan Poles had. And I'm glad that he's moving off of these bad draft picks pretty fast. It would be preferable if he didn't make these bad draft picks in the first place in like rounds 3 or 4. He's not had much success in those rounds, but I still like that we made the move to get rid of these guys because they were holding up roster spots for other more deserving football players. So glad the Chicago Bears got rid of those 2 players. And then finally going to the released players, these are veterans that are not eligible for waivers, but other teams can just sign them. Wide receiver Miles Boykin, tight end Steven Carlson, and defensive lineman Tano Pasonian. So not too many surprises there. Tano could have stayed potentially. He flashed here and there in camp and preseason, but probably not enough to warrant making the 53-man roster. And then Lastly, the activations to the roster. So defensive back Jalen Johnson was activated to the roster, and punter Torrey Taylor also have been activated. Jalen Johnson hopefully will be ready to play week 1. Not sure of his status at this point in time. He's not practiced the entire offseason, or at least during training camp. So a little bit concerning there, but at least he got activated in time for week 1. And lastly, I also want to talk about Za Frazier, our defensive back that we drafted in round 5. He's going to miss the entire year due to a personal issue. It's not been revealed yet what the personal issue was, but Ryan Poles put out a statement, and it seems like it's stemming from something that happened before he got drafted, but the Bears did not know about it until after he got drafted. So kind of a weird situation, but I'm not going to judge or say anything about it because I just simply don't have the details, and I don't want to, just make stuff up. So hopefully Za Frazier comes back fine next season, but as of now, he's not going to be contributing anything to the Chicago Bears in 2025. And now I want to take a quick look at the Bears 53-man roster, just go position by position and give you guys my thoughts on what we have there. So looking at quarterback, Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Case Keenum, no surprise there. A pretty strong QB room. Tyson Bagent is a good backup. Caleb Williams has a lot of potential to be a good starter in this league. So love our quarterbacks. Going to the running back room then, DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, and Roschon Johnson. Now, it's interesting. We only kept 3 backs. I think that's due to injury. We're probably going to have a 4th back on the roster. And even then, Roschon Johnson is injured right now. Even Kyle Monangai is. So, I think we will add another back at some point in the next week. But as of now, that's a running back room. If you look at the receivers, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Olamide Zaccheaus, Luther Burden, Jade Walker, and Devin Duvernay. I love that Jade Walker got a chance to make this team because he was fantastic in training camp and preseason. He ended preseason with a game-winning touchdown catch. And the celebration of his where he's like walking on air, super cool to see that, and just super cool to see Jade Walker make the most out of his opportunity. He was undrafted, but he did not let that impact his dedication to the sport. He worked extremely hard every single day, and he got rewarded with a roster spot on the Chicago Bears. So fantastic story right there. And our receiver room is completely stacked, guys. It's one of the most talented receiver rooms in all of football. So love to see all those guys there. Looking at the tight end room, Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland, and Durham Smythe. No surprises there. Looking at the offensive linemen then, we got Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, Drew Dalman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright, Ozzie Trapilo, Ryan Bates, Theo Benedict, Luke Newman, and Kiran Amegaji. So 10 offensive linemen we're keeping. Ryan Poles made a comment that Kiran might move to guard for the Chicago Bears, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, if that's the case, then we have 4 tackles and 6 guards or, interior offensive linemen so far on this team. Maybe we cut one of them, but we'll see what happens. Those are the offensive linemen at this point in time. Going to the defensive linemen then, we got Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, Dio Odengbo, Austin Booker, Andrew Billings, Chris Williams, Dominique Robinson, Daniel Hardy, and Shamar Turner. Love to see Daniel Hardy make the team. He's been having a couple really good training camps and preseason, so he got rewarded with a roster spot. And curious to see Dominique Robinson making the team because he has done nothing for the Bears for the past couple seasons besides his first year. He had a sack against Trent Williams, but he's like living off of that at this point in time because he's done nothing since then. But, hopefully this new coaching staff can get the most out of him. Going to the cornerbacks then, we got Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, Nashawn Wright, Josh Blackwell, and Nick McLeod. We could probably add another cornerback potentially because that spot is looking a little bit weak right now with the injuries that we had. Terrell Smith is going to be out for the year. Za Frazier is not playing at all this year. So, hopefully Tyreek steps it up. Hopefully Nashawn Wright can be fantastic depth in this cornerback room. Looking at the linebackers then, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Noah Sewell, Ruben Hippolyte, and Carl Jones Jr. Nothing really to talk about there. Noah Sewell getting the chance to be that third linebacker on the football field. And then looking at the safeties, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Elijah Hicks, Jonathan Owens. Special teams, we got Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, and Scott Daly. So that is the Bears roster. Leave your thoughts down below. What do you guys think about the roster? What do you guys think about the cuts? Again, I'm going to be having a lot of videos out for you guys very soon. Football season is right around the corner. Best time of the year. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.